Hey, good morning. So, quick intro video to myself, my newish channel, I suppose. Some of the work I'm working on, so predominantly Porsche shenanigans. Let's just call the video that, right? Working on quite a few 996s today. Predominantly, all I do is 996s, and you'll see here we've got one 996, another 996, and another 996. I can't even point in the right direction. And what we'll see here is we've got engine down there. Engine there, and what we'll also see in the garage is we've got another engine right there. So what am I working on? Well, what I'm going to be working on today is I'm taking this engine, which I rebuilt last year. So that's my car from my 996. My 996 is this one right here. So this is my 996. This is an early cable throttle, LSD, factory aero, non-sunroof, MO30 suspension. Basically, it's the one that a lot of people want to have, the enthusiasts. Now, I bought that car with a broken engine. The engine was failing, significantly failing. It was steam pouring out, intermix problems. I tested all the bits, got the heads tested. The heads were fine. Actually, it was a multitude of problems, including the head gasket, which is really quite rare. I'm just going to pop you down up here because my arm is going to sleep. And what I did was I built that engine. I put a lot of time and effort into building that, so everything has been replaced in that engine. Now the silver one, that's owned by a chap called Luke. Luke had a similar problem, had intermix problems. Oil was mixing in. He was doing the North Coast 500 and came out to find oil pouring out of the engine. It turned out it was coming from the overflow on his coolant. So he got in touch with me. Originally, I was going to buy that car actually, and then just rebuild it myself. But he decided he wanted to rebuild it. So we've got his engine in bits. His engine is in bits down there behind the cover and in the rest of my storage. And we decided that I was going to rebuild the engine for him. That's what he asked me to do. Now, since then, I decided to actually sell my 996 for another project. I'll keep that quiet for now. But then what I did was I offered him to buy my engine. Now my engine's only got 1,500 miles on it. Everything has been replaced on it, you know. So that is good to go. That is known, that is tested. And that was actually going to be more economically viable for him to put that into his car there than for me to rebuild that with my labour and things like that. And in my part-time, my spare time as a side business, I rebuild Porsche engines. So I'm not as quick as a garage, obviously, but I am far more cost effective, and I can obviously offer discounts and things like that to trade. So what we're doing is we're going to be putting that engine right there into Luke's Porsche right there. So crucially with this one, this is his is an electronic throttle, mine is a cable throttle. So we've had to change all the wiring loom over. His is a C4, mine's a C2, so we've had to change the gearbox over. We put a new clutch, new flywheel on there, and everything else. Now what we had to do yesterday is I had to spend a couple of hours going through that car, flushing the whole coolant system out. Reason being, as you may be aware, once oil gets into the coolant system, oil is not a good thing for rubber pipes, so it can actually destroy and perish the pipes. I think we've been okay. I think we've been lucky. I spent a couple of hours yesterday flushing it through with detergent and cleaning agents. A couple of hours, probably 100 plus litres, easily 100 plus litres of water. My water bill is probably going to be astronomical this month. So I've got to get that engine into that car, get it fired up. Now the beauty of this one is because this is known working, this was running the day I took it out. Getting that in, getting it up and running should be a pretty quick, simple thing. Luke's set to come and pick this up at the end of the month. Then he's going to drive it back to where he lives. He actually lives in Ireland. He may take it to Ireland, he may keep it in the UK. But that's the plan for today. Now then, the blue one, which is a lovely low mileage, 60,000 miles this car's got in it. C4 Tiptronic Aero, factory aero car again. Owned by a chap called Kim who lives up in Scotland, and this is a lovely car. Now this is not one for the purists. I mean, I like this car, but it's got a sunroof, it hasn't got the MO30 suspension, hasn't got an LSD or anything like that, but it's a really nice, clean, tidy car. He's really looked after it. Now what he suffered was, he suffered bore score originally with this engine right here, if you can see that. So that engine there, under that pallet, I've now purchased. He suffered bore score. Really common problem, not so common on the early 996s really, especially the 3.4 996s, which all of these engines by the way, are all 3.4s. So he suffered bore score, contacted me. Again, I was going to buy that car as one to rebuild myself. He decided not to. He originates from Thailand, so he found a Porsche specialist in Thailand who sourced him another engine. They rebuilt that engine over a couple of months, shipped it over to Scotland, and then he found a garage to install it. I offered to install it, but the cost of getting the car to where I live, hundreds and hundreds of miles away, was just too expensive. So he got a garage to install it. Everything was good. They fired the engine up. He took it for a drive, and then unfortunately, 100 miles later, failure. I say failure, it was loud noises. So he stopped immediately, got the car recovered back to the garage, got the garage to inspect. They dropped the filter, loads of metal shards in the filter. They haven't dropped the sump yet. They stopped at that point. They're not a Porsche specialist. He contacted me again. I said, right, the engine's got to come apart. It looks like it's eating one of the bearings. What it transpires, I think, has happened is when the garage installed the engine in the blue one there, I'm doing everything in reverse. When they installed the engine in that one, what they probably didn't realise is that they just cranked on the engine to try and build oil pressure. And in the 996s, well, in Porsche engines, to my knowledge, certainly on these engines, that doesn't work, because the reason being is where the oil filter and how the oil is pumped around the system, it doesn't fill the oil. So even if you fill the oil filter with oil, which you can do on normal cars, it will build pressure. It just won't. So the recommended process is to start the engine as quickly as possible to get the crank driving the oil as quickly as possible. They didn't do that. They cranked on it and cranked on it and cranked on it. The second issue, I think, is where the engine had been built in Thailand, and I've seen the pictures, they used assembly lube and everything like that. The assembly lube had simply just leaked down off the bearings and off the crank and everything else. It'd been a couple of months since building it and shipping it to Scotland and installing it. I personally use Graphogen. Graphogen, I find, adheres to the material better. It stays on there. When I rebuilt my engine, I did that over a couple of months, and I basically built the block, put it into storage, come back 2 months later, everything was great. And when I fired mine up, mine was good. So anyway, the poor guys had two engine failures. So I had that shipped here last week. So once Luke's one's done, that'll be done this week. We're going to move on to the blue one, and the blue one we're going to then do a full strip down of the engine. And this car is, oh my god, the engine is immaculate, right? If I can try and show you, not easy because it's quite low, so excuse the camera angle, but if I show you underneath here, you'll see how clean. Can you see that? I mean, look how clean the engine is. The engine has been meticulously rebuilt, so I don't think it's the engine builders who did something wrong. I saw the pictures of what they did and it looked good, but there's just no way of knowing, unfortunately, if you haven't started this up. And there's nothing more nerve-wracking than starting a brand new engine that you've just rebuilt. The fear and the anxiety that goes through you. So today the plan is I'm going to get this engine here, the engine that Luke's acquired from me, going to get that into his car here. Should be a pretty quick process. I say quick, probably 4.5 hours to get the engine in, get it all connected, get it all fired up, and then I'll go through and finish off everything. Now what we're going to have to do with that one is, because it has still had oil in the coolant lines, not a lot hopefully, is we're going to run it up to temperature, drop all the coolant, and we're going to do that about 2-3 times at least, just to flush everything out. That engine is good, so there's nothing wrong with that engine. We just got to make sure we clean all the crap out of that silver car. So once that's done, Luke can then take possession of his car back. My 996 is going this week, unfortunately, but I need to make way for another project, and then we'll be moving on to that one. So again, just a quick intro video to the channel. I've already uploaded videos to YouTube before, mainly the cars that I buy and sell. I buy and sell quite a lot of cars, not because I'm a trader, but I'm passionate about cars. So I do a lot of work and fixing cars. But rebuilding engines is really the stuff that I like doing. So that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do is I'll stop the video there, and I'll come back to you as we've got the car. So here's my lift. I'm going to get the silver car on the lift, get it up in the air. Engine is ready to go. It's already on my trolley, ready to go. So we should just be able to get the car in here, get it up in the air, and then just push the engine in and bolt it in. And bolting the engines into 996s, if you're a Porsche fan, if you know anything about Porsches, you'll know this. really simple cars to get the engine out of. It's the 2 engine mounts in the trunk, the boot, whatever you want to call it. Then you've got the gearbox mounts, which is 2 bolts that go into the chassis, and then there's another 4 on the actual support mount bracket. It's connect your clutch, and then connect your drive shafts, and then just put a couple of braces in. That's it. If you do it quite a lot, like I do, like I said, I can get a C2 engine out in about 3.5 hours, and a C4 about 4.5 hours, because the centre prop shaft's a bit of a bugger to do. The bolts are a bit awkward. C4S, any Tiptronic is a bit longer because you've got the oil cooler lines. They're a bit fiddly, and they're bloody heavy as well. You don't realise how much heavier the autos are over the manuals. So hopefully you've found that video enjoyable. Again, bit of a waffling, but my style is I don't want to make this all polished. I want to make it real. I want to take you on a journey. It is not easy. Some of this stuff is really hard. I get really frustrated. I swear. I get annoyed. I have to walk away, have a cup of tea, come back. It's a very English thing to do, isn't it? Go and have a cup of tea. But calm down, because sometimes things don't go to plan. And it's not always easy. It's not always smooth. But that's the plan for today. So we'll stop the video there. Hopefully you like that. Any comments, drop them below, and I'll try and take them on board. But again, this is part-time. I don't do this as my business. I have another job that I do, or another business that I run. So I do this in my spare time, and actually doing these videos is quite lengthy. I've been doing this for 45 minutes. This is only an 11-minute video. It's amazing how you keep going, shit, I've made a mistake. I've just made a mistake. Then I swore. I shouldn't have swore, so apologies. Right, I'll catch you again. Cheers. Hey, welcome back. So, continuing with where we were before, the car is now up in the air. So you see that, engine's ready to go. So I've got it up on my lift. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to remove the wheels. The wheels are right there, so I can get access to the drive shafts. And then what we've got to do is, if I crawl underneath, we're going to remove this brace. Here's the drive shafts. The engine's going to come in here and go up. And you can see up there, see all around. There's the outside, of course. And so, yeah, pretty straightforward process. What we need to do is this gearbox here has a mount that comes off the back here. And if you crawl along, you'll see it comes up to here, the rear prop shaft. Hopefully you can see that. That's the prop shaft that goes to the front. These 4 bolts here, hopefully you can see those. That comes up, and then there's 2 bolts here. Then we've got to connect the gearbox cables, connect the reverse switch, connect all the coolant lines, connect the wishbone, anti-roll bar. I don't know, it's too early in the morning. Or is it? I've just not had enough tea. Maybe either. And then we need to get the engine in, get it all connected up. So fuel lines are up here. Let me just come back outside so you can see. So you can see inside the engine there. So that's just to stop some of the coolant coming out that I flushed through yesterday. Connect the wiring harness that we can see over there. Coolant pipes, power steering lines, coolant lines, aircon lines. And then hopefully we'll be able to start it up. Now, I'm going to just make sure it fires up before I put the exhausts on. It'll be very loud, but I don't want to have to mess about putting the exhaust on, because they're a bit of a fiddly thing. You've got to get underneath the car to do that. They go up underneath here. So yeah, so I will continue, and I will check back with you shortly. Hey, morning. So it's the next day. I forgot to record some of the work I was doing. Also, my day job very rudely interrupted what I was doing, which is working on the car, which is far more interesting. But we can see the engine is now in. It's all connected up. If I take you underneath, we can see it's all connected. It needs a bit of a clean. Braces in, gearbox is in. Still got to put the braces across, the anti-roll bar in. Still got to put the exhausts in. But I wanted to record this because what we're going to do is we're going to go for the first startup. So I'm going to just pop you there. I haven't tried the engine yet. I plugged my durometric in to see if there's any faults, and there's obviously a few faults from the battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for a first test. Now this is probably going to be really loud. You can probably hear my neighbour cutting his grass, so hopefully he'll drown out some of the sound. So we're going to go for a first startup. I've never started one of these actually without an exhaust on, so it'll be interesting to see how loud it is. And right behind there is my office, and my daughter's asleep upstairs. Teenagers though, so this will get her up if nothing else does. So yeah, I'm going to go for the first start now. Let's see what it does. So just wait for the oil pressure, which is all good. Feels a bit low actually. So here we go. Wow, that is loud. And a lot of smoke and stuff, as you can probably imagine. Yeah, it's going to be loud. There's no exhausts on it. This one has standard exhaust, doesn't have any sports cats like mine does. But amazing how loud that is. You can hear it go straight into, I don't want to leave it running for more than a couple of seconds obviously because it's got no coolant in it. Just wanted to make sure it fires up and everything's coming through. So that's all good. So I'm going to continue the work. The rest of the work for today will be, we're going to put the exhausts on. Going to get the headers and the manifolds and the exhausts connected, the sensors connected. We're going to get the anti-roll bar back in, the braces back in. And if I get time today, I'm going to bleed the system. I'm going to get the coolant filled in. I vacuum fill the coolant. But remember, if you remember from the previous, earlier in this video, I've got to flush the system through a few times because of, just in case there's any residual oil from the intermix. I don't think there is. I've flushed it a lot and it seems okay. So yeah, so stay tuned. I will come back to you later. Hopefully it's today, if not it may be tomorrow, but this is all going to be one video, just sort of stitched together. So yeah, see you in a bit. Hey, and welcome back. And this is continuing on from where we were yesterday. So again, another day has passed. Work getting in its way again, you know, got to pay the bills. So where are we? Well, yesterday we had the engine in. We got it started. But we've moved forward since then. Where we're up to now is we've got the exhaust on fully, as you can see here. I've put the bumper back on, got the wheels back on, and now I'm getting ready to put some fluids in it. So already got oil in it from when I put the engine in from my car. Remember, I swapped this over from my car. And I only did the oil change on this about 300 miles ago, so that's all fine. I'll probably drop it again before I give it back to the customer. Back to Luke, who owns the car. But what I've got to do is I've got to put some power steering fluid in here. I've got to fill the coolant. Now I usually vacuum fill the coolant, but my compressor is playing up today. So I'm going to do it old school. I'm just going to fill it and keep trying to drain it off, raising it and lowering the back end to see if I can get the air to come through. But I am going to flush it through a couple of times because again, I just want to make sure I get all the residual rubbish that may be left in the engine. But yeah, we're getting very close. Going to get it on the road hopefully later today, if not tomorrow, depending upon how things go. So power steering, coolant, going to run it up to temperature and then see how it goes. Make sure it opens it up, then I'll drain what I put in. I'm only putting like a weak coolant flush through, and then I'm going to fill it up properly and we'll take it from there. So I'll come back to you in a bit. Hey, good morning, and final part of the video. Apologies for skipping some of it yesterday, but essentially the car's up and running. Coolant was filled and it's all run up to temperature. I flushed the system once, filled it up again, and it's all running okay now. So we're about to take it for its first proper drive. I left it idling for a good 15-20 minutes yesterday, turned it off, got it back up to temperature again, turned it off, flushed it, then got it back up to temperature again. So I'm just about to take it for its first drive. So here she is, all ready to go. Needs a very good clean. Hasn't been washed in, I think it's been off the road since October last year, so it's September now, so nearly a year. looking a bit dirty and sorry for itself, but we'll get it cleaned properly once it's all working. So yeah, going to take it for a quick blast, nothing far, just a 15-20 mile drive, just to make sure everything's okay. The engine is good, as we know, but I just want to make sure everything is running properly for Luke when he comes over and collects it in a week or two. I noticed a bit of a leak on the power steering rack. One of the pipes is ever so slightly weeping, so we'll probably get around to fixing that before he comes, but it's okay for now. So yeah, so I'm going to take it for a spin. I will not be able to film you because I don't actually have a camera holder for my car. Well, this is my phone actually I'm doing this on, but I don't have a holder for the car. So yeah, so I will check back with you in a short while. Whilst I remember, let's just do a quick cold start. So I've not started the car since yesterday, since I pulled it out of the garage. So what we're going to do, just to make sure everything's okay, excuse me, with the poor camera work, not my day job as you can tell. Make sure everything's okay before we set off. So let's just have a look at the, I'm going to spin you around, hopefully that you can see me. Let's turn it on, see it's nice and cold. Looking for the oil, hopefully you can see that. It's bang on the mark, could do with some petrol actually. So let's go for a nice cold start. So I'm going to fire it up now, looking for the oil pressure. Lovely, straight up to 5 bars, which is what it should be on cold start, to be honest. Idling a bit faster, which is what it should be. So good, so we're going to take it for a spin now. Like I said, just a 15-minute blast around where I live in the countryside, get up to temperature, make sure everything works perfectly. Like I said, before I put the engine in, it'd been sitting for a good, since October last year, so nearly a year. And all the tyres have been rotated, they haven't gone flat. So yeah, so wish me luck. I will see you in a bit. Here we go, first drive, Luke. It's not the easiest thing to do when you've got one hand on the camera, technically against the law. Right, here we go. Your something's beeping in your car. I don't know what it is. Is it your stereo? I don't know. Anyway, here we go. All good. Right, I will report back later. Okay, so we're back and everything went well. Car drives really well. Did flash up an ABS light, so I think one of the wheel sensors needs looking at, but then what do you expect? The car's been sat for nearly a year. But no, drives really, really nicely, pulls well, turns well. No bumps, rattles, rocks, knocks. Yeah, it's a really nice car. The engine's performing well, which of course it should do because it was already working in the car that I pulled it out of. But yeah, so a couple of things to do on this, which is fix the leaking pipe. I had another look at that and it actually looks like one of the hard lines coming into the rack is leaking. You can buy replacement pipes for those, so I'll whip the subframe off and do that. And then we'll look at the ABS. I'll plug the durometric in and we'll have a look at which wheel sensors kick in the ABS in. But apart from that, the car is pretty much done, ready to be MOT'd freshly and then taxed, ready for Luke to pick up.